I stood there frozen. My husband's hand gripped mine so tight I could feel his knuckles shaking. Right there, at the entrance of my own daughter's wedding venue, our faces, printed on a poster, with bold red letters that said, "Do not let these two in." I couldn't breathe. My husband Rick looked at me. His eyes were wet. I'd never seen him like that before, 20-7 years of marriage, and I'd never once seen him break like that. "Linda," he whispered, "that's us." I didn't answer. I couldn't. The security guard stepped forward. Young guy, maybe he looked uncomfortable, embarrassed, even. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said quietly. "I have strict orders. You're not allowed inside." My legs felt like jelly. My heart. It wasn't just broken, it was shattered into a million pieces. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My little girl, my Megan, getting married. I had dreamed about this moment since the day she was born. I imagined walking in, crying happy tears, watching her say "I do." But instead, I was standing outside like a criminal, like someone who didn't belong. Rick tugged my hand gently. "Let's go," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I wanted to fight. I wanted to scream. I wanted to push past that guard and demand to see my daughter. But something stopped me. Pride. Maybe pain. Definitely, because if Megan wanted us gone that badly, if she hated us enough to put our faces on a poster, then maybe we didn't belong there after all. We turned around, walked back to our car, didn't say a single word. And that's when everything changed. But before I tell you what happened 3 hours later, before I tell you how Megan's perfect wedding crumbled right before her eyes, let me take you back to where it all started. Because this story, it didn't begin at that wedding venue, it began years ago, when Megan was still my little girl, when she still loved me. You see, Megan was always special to us. Rick and I tried for years to have a baby, years of disappointment, years of tears, years of doctors telling us it might never happen. And then, one spring morning, I found out I was pregnant. I'll never forget Rick's face when I told him. He dropped to his knees right there in our kitchen, crying like a baby himself. "We're gonna be parents," he kept saying. "We're finally gonna be parents." Megan came into this world screaming, loud and fierce and full of life. From day one, she was a firecracker, strong-willed, independent, always knew what she wanted, and we loved that. About her, we gave her everything. Not because we were rich. We weren't. Rick worked as an electrician. I was a nurse at the local hospital. But we saved, we sacrificed, we made sure Megan never felt like she was missing out. Dance lessons, piano classes, summer camps, college tuition, whatever she needed, we found a way. And Megan, she was grateful. At least, I thought she was. She'd hug me every night before bed, tell me I was the best mom in the world. "I love you, Mama," she'd say. "I'm gonna take care of you when you're old." Those words, they meant everything to me. I believed them. I held on to them. But I had no idea what was coming. Things started changing when Megan turned 23. She'd just graduated college, got a fancy job at some marketing firm downtown, started making good money. And that's when she met him, Tyler. Now don't get me wrong, Tyler wasn't a bad guy. At least, not at first. He was charming, good-looking, drove a nice car, had a smooth way of talking that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Megan fell hard. And fast. "Mom, he's the one," she told me after just 2 months of dating. "I can feel it." I smiled and hugged her, told her I was happy for her. But deep down, something felt off. Call it a mother's intuition, call it paranoia, but something about Tyler didn't sit right with me. Maybe it was the way he looked at our house, like it wasn't good enough. Maybe it was how he'd check his phone every 5 minutes when we had dinner together, or maybe it was the way he talked about his family, his mother, specifically Patricia. "My mom's amazing," Tyler would say. "She's like the perfect woman. Elegant, sophisticated. She knows how to carry herself, you know." And every time he said it, he'd glance at me, just for a second. Like he was comparing. Like I didn't measure up. I tried to shake it off, told myself I was being silly, insecure. But then I met Patricia and everything made sense. It was Thanksgiving. Megan insisted we all have dinner together. "Our families need to bond," she said. So we drove 40 minutes to Patricia's house, a huge place in the suburbs. 3 stories, marble floors, a chandelier in the entryway. Patricia greeted us at the door. She was tall, thin, dressed like she was heading to a gala instead of a family dinner. "Oh," she said, looking me up and down, "you must be Megan's mother." The way she said it, like I was some stray dog that wandered onto her property. I extended my hand. "Linda, Nice to meet you. She barely touched my fingers, like she was afraid she'd catch something. Charmed, she said flatly. Rick stepped forward. I'm Rick, Megan's dad. Patricia's smile tightened. Yes, the electrician. Not nice to meet you. Not welcome to our home. Just, the electrician. Like it was something dirty. I squeezed Rick's hand. He squeezed back. We both felt it, that cold, dismissive energy. But we stayed. For Megan, dinner was awkward. Patricia talked nonstop about her charities, her country club, her circle of friends. Every now and then, she'd throw a subtle jab our way. You work at a hospital, Linda. How? Noble. Must be exhausting dealing with all those sick people. Rick, do you ever think about going back to school? Getting a real degree? Each comment felt like a tiny knife, slipping in, twisting, but I kept quiet, smiled through it because Megan looked so happy, so hopeful. And I didn't want to ruin that. But what I didn't realize, Patricia wasn't just being rude. She was planting seeds, little by little, day by day, turning my daughter against me. And I had no idea. The first real sign came. 6 months later, Megan called me one afternoon. Her voice was strange. Cold. Mom, we need to talk. My stomach dropped. What's wrong, honey? Tyler's mom told me something. Something you said about her at Thanksgiving. I frowned. What? I didn't say anything about her. She said you called her pretentious. Said her house was too fancy for its own good. I almost dropped the phone. Megan, I never said that. I swear to you. She has no reason to lie, Mom. And I have a reason to. Silence. Then Megan sighed. I just think you should apologize. For Tyler's sake. And mine. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive over there and confront Patricia myself. But I didn't. I apologized. Even though I'd done nothing wrong because I loved my daughter. And I didn't want to lose her. But that was just the beginning. Over the next year, things got worse. Megan stopped calling as often. Stopped coming over for Sunday dinners. When I asked why, she always had an excuse. Work's crazy. Tyler's got plans. Patricia invited us somewhere. Patricia. Always Patricia, and slowly, painfully. I watched my daughter drift away. Then came the engagement. Tyler proposed on a beach in Hawaii. Megan sent us a photo, her smiling, the ring sparkling. I cried. Happy tears, I told myself. But something in my chest felt heavy. I called to congratulate her. Sweetheart, I'm so happy for you. When's the wedding? Let's start planning. There was a pause. Actually, Mom, Patricia's handling most of it. I blinked. What? She knows a lot of wedding planners. Has connections. It'll be easier this way. Easier? For who? But honey, I always dreamed of planning your wedding with you. Picking out dresses. Tasting cakes. All of it. Another pause. Longer this time. I'll let you know when there's something you can help with. That was it. No, of course, Mom. No, we'll do it together. Just, I'll let you know. I cried that night. Really cried. Rick held me. Told me it would be okay. She's just excited, he said. She'll come around. But she didn't. The months leading up to the wedding were a blur of rejection. I offered to help with invitations. Patricia already ordered them. I asked about the venue. Patricia picked it. Some fancy country club. I wanted to go dress shopping. Patricia took me last week. Found the perfect one. Every door slammed in my face. And every time, it was Patricia. 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 I tried not to let it hurt. Tried to tell myself Megan was just busy. But then I saw the photos online. Megan. Trying on wedding dresses. Laughing with Patricia. And there I was, her mother, sitting at home, scrolling through pictures of moments. I should have been. Part of my heart didn't just break that day. It crumbled. Rick was furious. This isn't right, Linda. We need to talk to her. And say what? That we're jealous of Tyler's mom? That we're being pushed out? He wasn't wrong, but I was scared. Scared that if I pushed too hard, I'd lose Megan completely, so I stayed quiet, kept hoping, and then the wedding day arrived. We got ready that morning like it was any other celebration. I wore a soft lavender dress. Rick put on his best suit. We drove to the venue, nervous, excited. Maybe today will be different, I told Rick. Maybe she finally let us in. He nodded, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. We pulled up to the country club. Beautiful place. White columns. Flowers everywhere. Guests were arriving, smiling, hugging, and then we saw it, right at the entrance, a poster, with our faces. Do not let these two in. My whole world stopped. I read the words again. And again. It didn't make sense. It couldn't be real, but it was. The security guard approached. "Ma'am, sir. I'm sorry, but you're not permitted entry." Rick's voice cracked. "That's our daughter getting married in there." The guard looked down. "I know. I'm really sorry, but I have my orders." I wanted to collapse right there. How could Megan do this? After everything, after all the love, the sacrifices, the years of devotion. She put our faces on a poster, like we were criminals. Rick pulled me gently. "Come on, Linda, let's go." I couldn't fight, couldn't speak. We walked back to the car, got inside, sat in silence, and then I did something I hadn't done in years. I prayed. I prayed for strength, for understanding, for peace. Because right then, I had none of those things. We drove home in complete silence. Rick didn't turn on the radio, didn't try to comfort me. Because what could he say? Our daughter, our only child, the girl we raised, loved, sacrificed, everything for. She didn't want us at her wedding, and she made sure the whole world knew it. When we got home, I walked straight to the living room, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. Rick sat next to me, took my hand. "We'll get through this," he whispered. But I didn't believe him. An hour passed, then two. I kept replaying it in my head. The poster, the guard, the humiliation. Why would Megan do this? And then my phone buzzed. I looked down, it was a text, from a number I didn't recognize. "Mrs. Linda, this is Emma. I work at the country club. I think you should know what's really going on here." My heart skipped a beat. I showed Rick. His eyes widened. "Call her," he said, so I did. And what Emma told me next, it changed everything. Emma's voice was shaky on the phone, like she was scared but determined. "Mrs. Linda, I shouldn't be calling you. If my boss finds out, I'll lose my job. But what I saw today, it's not right." I gripped the phone tighter. "What do you mean? What did you see?" "That poster at the entrance, with your faces on it." My chest tightened. "Yes, we saw it. Your daughter didn't put it there." I froze. "What? Megan didn't order that poster. She didn't even know about it. I was there when it was delivered this morning. It came with specific instructions, and the name on the order, Patricia Whitmore." The room started spinning. Rick leaned closer. "What's she saying?" I put the phone on speaker. My hands were trembling. "Say that again, Emma. Please." "Mrs. Whitmore ordered that poster. She told security it was Megan's request. But Megan never spoke to anyone about it. I saw the paperwork myself." Silence, then Rick's voice. Low, controlled, dangerous. "That woman put our faces on a poster, without our daughter's knowledge, and had us banned from her wedding." "Yes, sir, and that's not all." I felt sick. "There's more." Emma hesitated. "I've been working here for 3 years. I've seen a lot of weddings, a lot of drama, but this one," she paused. "Mrs. Whitmore has been making decisions all day, changing seating arrangements, removing certain guests. She even had the photographer delete pictures." "Delete pictures? Of what?" "Of your daughter. With certain people, friends, I think. People Mrs. Whitmore didn't approve of." My heart was pounding now. "She's been controlling everything," Emma continued. "Every detail, every person, and your daughter, she doesn't know half of it." I closed my eyes. All this time, all those months, I thought Megan was pulling away because she wanted to. But it wasn't her, it was Patricia. Pulling strings, whispering lies, building walls between us, and Megan had no idea. "Why are you telling us this?" I asked softly. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Because I have a mother too, and if someone did this to her, I'd want to know." I started crying, right there on the phone. "Thank you, Emma, thank you so much." "There's one more thing," she said quickly. "The caterer, the florist, the string quartet, they were all paid deposits by someone named Linda Brennan. That's you, right?" I blinked. "Yes. Months ago, Megan said the wedding budget was tight. I offered to help cover some costs. She said Patricia would handle the rest." "Well, Patricia didn't pay the rest. She paid nothing. Those vendors, they're expecting final payments today, and they haven't received anything." My stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "It means if they don't get paid soon, they're walking out, in the middle of the wedding." I looked at Rick. His jaw was tight. His eyes were burning. "What do we do?" I whispered. He stood up slowly. "We go back." I stared at him. "What?" "Rick, they won't let us in. They will now." He grabbed his jacket, looked at me with more fire than I'd seen in years. "That woman tried to destroy our family. She lied. She manipulated. She turned our daughter against us." He pointed toward the door. "We're not sitting here while Megan's wedding falls apart. We're going back, and we're ending this. I didn't argue. I grabbed my purse, fixed my hair, and we left. The drive felt longer this time. My heart was racing the whole way. What would we say? What would we do? Would Megan even believe us? Or would Patricia spin another lie? We pulled up to the venue again. This time, the entrance was quieter. Most guests were already inside. The security guard saw us coming. His face went pale. "Ma'am, sir, I already told you." Rick stepped forward, calm/steady. "I know what you told us, but we're not here to cause trouble. We're here to save that wedding." The guard hesitated. "The caterer is about to walk out," I said. "So is the florist. And the string quartet. Patricia Whitmore didn't pay them, but I did. Those deposits. They came from me. And if I don't go in there and sort this out, your fancy country club is gonna have a very public disaster." The guard's eyes widened. He looked around nervously, then stepped aside. "Go quickly, through the service entrance." We didn't waste a second. Inside, the venue was beautiful, white flowers everywhere, crystal chandeliers, soft music playing. But behind the scenes, chaos. I found the catering manager first, a stressed-out woman with a clipboard. "Are you Linda Brennan?" "Yes. Thank God. Mrs. Whitmore told us the payment was coming. It never did. My team is about to pack up." I pulled out my checkbook. "How much?" She told me it was a lot, more than I expected, but I wrote that check without hesitating, because this wasn't about money. It was about my daughter. I handled the florist next, then the quartet, one by one, payment by payment. Rick stayed close, watching my back. And the whole time, I kept thinking, where was Megan? We finished just in time. The ceremony was about to start. Guests were seated, music was swelling, and then I saw her. Megan standing at the back of the aisle, in her white dress, veil over her face. She looked beautiful, like an angel, but something was wrong. Her shoulders were tense, her hands were shaking, and standing right next to her, Patricia, whispering something in her ear. Megan nodded slowly, but her eyes looked empty. That's when I knew. She wasn't happy. She was trapped. The ceremony began. Megan walked down the aisle alone, because her father wasn't there to give her away, because we weren't supposed to be there at all. I watched from the back, hidden behind a pillar. Rick stood beside me, holding my hand. We didn't say a word. Tyler waited at the altar, smiling. Confident. Patricia sat in the front row, beaming like a queen. The officiant spoke. "Read the vows." Everything was going perfectly, and then came the moment. "If anyone has any reason why these two should not be married, speak now, or forever hold your peace." Silence. I held my breath, and then the back doors burst open. Everyone turned. A woman walked in, young, blonde, furious. She pointed straight at Tyler. "You lying, cheating piece of garbage." Gasps echoed through the room. Tyler's face went white. "Brittany, what are you? Don't you dare Brittany me," she screamed. "You told me you were leaving her. You said the wedding was off. You said you loved me." Megan stared at Tyler, her face crumbling. "What is she talking about?" Tyler stammered. "She's crazy. I don't even know her." "Liar." Brittany pulled out her phone, showed it to the crowd. "We've been together for 8 months. I have texts, photos, everything." The room exploded. Guests whispering, people standing. Patricia shot up from her seat. "Security, get this woman out of here." But nobody moved, because everyone was too busy staring at the phone, at the photos of Tyler, with Brittany, in places he shouldn't have been. Megan stood frozen, her bouquet slipping from her fingers. "Tyler." Her voice cracked. "Is it true?" He didn't answer. That was all she needed. She turned, walked straight off the altar. "Megan, wait," Tyler shouted. But she didn't stop. She walked down the aisle, tears streaming. And then she saw us, me and Rick standing by the pillar. Her eyes went wide. "Mom, Dad." I stepped forward. "We're here, sweetheart." She ran to me, threw her arms around me, sobbed into my shoulder. "I'm so sorry," she cried. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know any of it." I held her tight, kissed her hair. "It's okay, baby. We're here now. We're not going anywhere." Rick wrapped his arms around both of us, and for a moment, everything else disappeared. The chaos, the guests, the ruined wedding. All that mattered was this, my daughter, back in my arms. Where she belonged. But the drama wasn't over yet. Patricia stormed over, her face twisted with rage. "What are you two doing here? I specifically ordered you to be kept out." I looked at her calmly. "I know. I saw the poster, with our faces on it." Megan pulled back. "What poster?" Rick's voice was steady. Your mother-in-law put up a sign at the entrance, our photos, telling security not to let us in. Megan stared at Patricia. You did what? Patricia's face flickered, just for a second. I was protecting you, dear. These people are toxic. They were going to ruin your day. Protecting me. Megan's voice rose. You banned my parents from my wedding, without telling me. You were stressed. I didn't want to burden you with what? With my own mother and father. Patricia stepped back. Her mask was cracking, and then I said something. Quietly, but everyone heard. She also didn't pay the vendors. The room went silent. Megan turned to me. What? The caterer, the florist, the quartet. Patricia promised to cover them. She didn't. They were about to walk out halfway through the ceremony. Megan's face went pale. Then who paid them? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She looked at me, at the check stubs peeking out of my purse, and she understood. You paid for my wedding, she whispered. Even after I shut you out. Even after everything. I cupped her face in my hands. You're my daughter. I would do anything for you. She broke down again. This time, it wasn't sadness, it was relief, and gratitude, and love. All the things Patricia had tried so hard to destroy. And right there, in front of everyone, Megan turned to face her almost mother-in-law. Get out. Patricia blinked. Excuse me? Get out of my wedding. Get out of my life. I never want to see you again. You can't speak to me like watch me. Megan's voice was steel. You manipulated me. You lied to me. You tried to tear me away from the only people who ever truly loved me. She stepped closer, her eyes blazing. You wanted to control everything. My wedding, my husband, my family. But you know what, Patricia? She smiled, cold and sharp. You lost. Patricia's mouth opened, then closed. She looked around the room, at the staring guests, the whispers, and for the first time, she had nothing to say. Tyler tried to step in. Megan, babe, can we just talk about don't? She didn't even look at him. We're done. You and me, we're done. She pulled off her engagement ring, dropped it on the floor. Then she took my hand, and my husband's hand, and the three of us walked out of that venue together. Behind us, the wedding crumbled. Guests leaving, Tyler yelling, Patricia screaming, but we didn't look back. Not once, because we were finally a family again, and nothing else mattered. We drove home in silence, but it was a different kind of silence this time, not heavy, not painful, peaceful. Megan sat in the back seat, still in her wedding dress. Her mascara was smeared, her hair was a mess, but she was smiling. I can't believe I almost married him, she said softly. Rick glanced in the mirror. You didn't. That's what matters. But all those months, I pushed you away. I believed Patricia's lies. I was so horrible to you both. I reached back, took her hand. You were manipulated, sweetheart, by people who were supposed to love you. That's not your fault. But I should have known. I should have trusted you. You know now, and you came back to us. That's all we ever wanted. She squeezed my hand. I don't deserve you guys. Rick chuckled. Probably not, but you're stuck with us anyway. Megan laughed. Really laughed. It was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. We got home, changed out of our fancy clothes, ordered pizza, sat on the couch together, like we used to, and talked. For hours, Megan told us everything. How Patricia had slowly isolated her, criticized her choices, made her feel like she wasn't good enough unless she followed Patricia's rules. How Tyler had seemed so perfect at first, charming, attentive, then slowly became cold, distant, controlling. How she'd started to notice things, small lies, secret phone calls, but she'd ignored them, because she wanted so badly to believe. I was so blind, she said quietly. I put my arm around her. Love makes us blind sometimes, but it also helps us see clearly. Eventually, she leaned into me. I missed you, Mom. I missed you so much. I missed you too, baby, more than you'll ever know. Rick cleared his throat. So what happens now? Megan thought for a moment. I don't know. I have to figure things out. Cancel the honeymoon, return the gifts, deal with all the gossip. She sighed. It's gonna be a mess. I smiled softly. Good thing you've got us to help you clean it up. She looked at me, at Rick. And her eyes filled with tears again. But this time, they were happy tears. I love you guys, she whispered. I love you so much. We love you too, sweetheart. Always have, always will. That night, Megan slept in her old room, in her old bed. with her old stuffed animals, like no time had passed at all, and I stood in the doorway, watching her sleep. My little girl, back home, safe, loved, where she belonged. Rick came up behind me, wrapped his arms around me. She's gonna be okay, he whispered. I nodded. Yeah, she is. But little did I know, the story wasn't over yet, because 3 months later, something happened that changed everything all over again. And this time, it was the best kind of surprise. 3 months passed, and in those 3 months everything changed. Megan moved back home, just temporarily, she said, just until she figured things out. But honestly, I didn't mind having her back in the house, hearing her footsteps in the morning, smelling her coffee brewing. It felt like old times, like I had my daughter back at first. She was quiet, withdrawn, spent a lot of time in her room. I understood, she was healing, processing, trying to make sense of everything that happened. I didn't push, didn't pry, I just made sure she knew I was there. Every morning, I'd leave a cup of tea outside her door, her favorite, chamomile with honey. Every evening, I'd cook dinner, her favorite meals, comfort food, and slowly, day by day, she started coming back to life. She'd join us for breakfast, watch TV with Rick in the evenings, help me in the garden on weekends. Little things, but they meant everything. One night, about 6 weeks after the wedding disaster, Megan came to me. I was sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. She sat down next to me, didn't say anything for a while. Then quietly, Mom, how did you know Dad was the one? I smiled. Thought back to those early days. Honestly, I didn't. Not at first. She looked at me. Really, when I met your father, I thought he was annoying, too loud, too stubborn, always cracking bad jokes. Megan laughed softly. That sounds like Dad. But then, one day, something happened. I got sick, really sick, was in bed for 2 weeks, couldn't work, could barely move. I paused. The memory still felt warm. Your father showed up every single day, brought me soup, read me books, held my hand when I cried, never complained, never made me feel like a burden. I looked at Megan. That's when I knew. It wasn't about the big romantic gestures. It was about showing up, every day, no matter what. She was quiet for a moment. Tyler never showed up, she whispered. Not really. He was always too busy, too distracted. I made excuses for him, told myself that's just how he was. And now, she took a deep breath. Now I know better. I know what I deserve, and I'm not settling for anything less. I reached over, took her hand. That's my girl. She smiled, and I saw something in her eyes. Hope. The weeks continued. Megan went back to work, reconnected with old friends, started going to therapy. She was rebuilding her life, piece by piece. And Rick and I, we watched with pride. Our daughter was stronger than we ever imagined. But there was one thing. I noticed every Thursday evening, Megan would leave the house around 6, come back around 9, with a little smile on her face. I didn't ask, figured she'd tell me when she was ready. Then one Thursday, Rick came to me with a suspicious look. Linda, you know where she's going every week. I shrugged. Book club, yoga class. He raised an eyebrow. In a nice dress, with perfume. I paused. Huh, but still, I didn't pry, because I trusted her, and about a month later, she finally told us. It was a Sunday morning. We were having breakfast together. Megan cleared her throat, looked nervous. So, there's something I need to tell you guys. Rick set down his coffee. You're not moving out, are you? Because I just fixed the sink in your bathroom. She laughed. No, Dad. Not yet anyway. She took a breath. I've been seeing someone. Silence. My heart fluttered. Seeing someone, like dating? She nodded. His name is Daniel. We met at a coffee shop about 2 months ago. He spilled his latte on my laptop. I blinked. That's romantic. She grinned. He felt so bad. Insisted on paying for repairs. Then insisted on buying me dinner to apologize. Then insisted on seeing me again. Rick crossed his arms. Sounds pushy. He's not. He's just genuine, honest, kind. She looked at us both. He's different, you guys. Really different. He listens when I talk. Remembers little things. Shows up when he says he will. I saw it in her eyes. That spark. That glow. Something I hadn't seen in years. He sounds wonderful. Sweetheart. She smiled shyly. He wants to meet you, both of you, if that's okay. Rick and I exchanged glances. Of course it's okay, I said. Bring him over for dinner. And so, the following Saturday, Daniel came to our house, and from the moment he walked through that door, I knew. He was tall, brown hair, Warm eyes. A genuine smile. He shook Rick's hand firmly, looked him straight in the eye. Mr. Brennan. It's an honor to meet you. Megan talks about you all the time. Rick grunted. Does she now? Yes, sir. She says you're the hardest working man she knows, and the best father anyone could ask for. Rick's expression softened, just a little. Then Daniel turned to me. Mrs. Brennan, thank you so much for having me. He handed me a bouquet of flowers. Sunflowers. My favorite. Megan mentioned you love these. I was already tearing up. She told you that? He smiled gently. She tells me a lot. About how much she loves you. How much she regrets the time she lost. How grateful she is to have you back.
I couldn't help it. I hugged him. Right there in the doorway. Welcome to our home, Daniel. Dinner was perfect. Daniel was charming, polite, funny without being obnoxious. He asked Rick about his work, genuinely listened. He complimented my cooking, offered to help with dishes. And most importantly, he looked at Megan like she was the most precious thing in the world. After dinner, Megan walked Daniel to his car. Rick and I watched from the window. They stood there talking, laughing. Then Daniel leaned in, kissed her softly. And Megan smiled. A real smile, full of joy. Rick put his arm around me. I like him, he admitted quietly. Me too. Think he's the one. I watched them, saw the way they looked at each other. Yeah, I think he might be. The months flew by. Daniel became a regular at our house. Sunday dinners, holiday gatherings, random Tuesday visits just to say hi. He fit into our family like he'd always been there. And Megan, she was happier than I'd ever seen her. The shadow of Tyler and Patricia was finally gone. She was free, healed, whole. Then, one crisp autumn evening, Daniel asked to speak with us. Just me and Rick. Megan was at work. Daniel showed up at our door, nervous. Mr. and Mrs. Brennan, can I talk to you for a minute? We sat in the living room. Daniel took a deep breath. I love your daughter, more than I ever thought I could love anyone. Rick's eyes narrowed. Go on. She's the most incredible person I've ever met. Strong, kind, resilient. She's been through so much and she came out even more beautiful. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small velvet box. My heart stopped. I want to ask Megan to marry me, but I wanted your blessing first, because I know how much you mean to her, and I want to do this right. I couldn't speak. Rick stared at the box, then at Daniel. The silence stretched. And then Rick did something unexpected. He stood up, walked over to Daniel, and hugged him. Welcome to the family, son. Daniel exhaled, relief flooding his face. I burst into tears. Happy tears, the happiest tears. 2 weeks later, Daniel proposed. At the same coffee shop where they first met. Got down on one knee, in front of everyone. Megan said yes before he even finished the question. She called me immediately after. Mom, I'm engaged. I was already crying. I know, sweetheart, I know. You knew. He asked for our blessing. He did it right, honey. He did everything right. She was sobbing, laughing all at once. I'm getting married, Mom, for real this time, to someone who actually loves me. Yes, you are, and we're going to be there every step of the way. I want you to help me plan everything. The dress, the flowers, the cake, all of it. My heart soared. Really? Of course, you're my mom. I should have included you the first time. I was so stupid. You weren't stupid. You were manipulated, but that's over now. This is your fresh start. Our fresh start, she corrected. You and Dad were doing this together. I smiled through my tears. Together, always. The wedding planning was everything I dreamed of. Megan and I spent weekends looking at venues, tasting cakes, trying on dresses. Rick came along sometimes, pretended to be bored, but I saw him smiling when he thought no one was looking. Daniel's family was wonderful too. His mother, Carol, was warm and welcoming, nothing like Patricia. She hugged me the first time we met. "I'm so glad our kids found each other," she said. "Me too, more than you know." We became fast friends. Planned the wedding together. Like it should have been all along. The day of the wedding arrived. A beautiful spring afternoon, sunshine everywhere. The venue was a garden, simple but elegant, flowers blooming, birds singing. Exactly what Megan wanted. I helped her get ready. Fixed her veil, adjusted her train. She looked stunning, radiant. "Mom," she said softly, "thank you." "For what?" "For never giving up on me, for loving me even when I didn't deserve it, for being here now." I cupped her face. "I will always be here, no matter what, that's what mothers do." She hugged me tight. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, baby, more than words can say." The ceremony was perfect. Megan walked down the aisle on Rick's arm. He was trying so hard not to cry, failed miserably. I was already a mess, tissues everywhere. Daniel waited at the altar, eyes shining. When he saw Megan, he actually gasped. Like he couldn't believe how lucky he was. That's how I knew, beyond any doubt. He was the one. They exchanged vows, simple but heartfelt. Daniel's voice cracked when he promised to love her forever. Megan cried when she said, "I do." And when they kissed, the whole garden erupted in cheers. I looked at Rick. He was crying openly now. "That's our girl," he whispered. "Yeah, that's our girl." The reception was magical. Dancing, laughter, joy everywhere. Megan and Daniel had their first dance. Then Daniel walked over to me. Extended his hand. "May I have this dance, Mom?" "Mom." He called me Mom. I started crying all over again. We danced, and he thanked me. "For raising such an incredible woman, for welcoming me into your family, for being the kind of mother-in-law I never thought I'd have." I laughed through my tears. "You're stuck with me now, Daniel." He grinned, wouldn't have it any other way. Later that evening, Megan came to find me. We stood together at the edge of the garden, watching the sunset. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart." "Remember that day, at my first wedding, when you found that poster?" I nodded, the memory still stung, but differently now. "I think about it sometimes," she said quietly, "about how close I came to losing you, forever." She turned to face me. "If you hadn't come back that day, if you hadn't paid those vendors, if you hadn't been there when everything fell apart." She shook her head. "I don't know where I'd be right now, married to a cheater, controlled by Patricia, cut off from everyone who truly loved me." She took my hands. "You saved me, Mom, you and Dad, you saved my life." I pulled her into a hug. "You saved yourself, sweetheart. We just reminded you who you really are." She cried softly, happy tears. "I'm so grateful for all of it, even the hard parts, because they led me here, to Daniel, to this moment, to finally understanding what love really means." I kissed her forehead. "That's all I ever wanted for you, real love, true happiness." She smiled. "I have it now, thanks to you." 1 year later. I'm sitting on my porch again, watching the sunset. But I'm not alone this time. Rick is beside me, holding my hand like he has for almost 30 years. Inside the house, I can hear voices. Megan and Daniel, laughing about something. And another sound. A new sound. A baby crying. Our granddaughter. Emma Linda Martinez. Named after the brave young woman who called us that day, and after me. She's 3 months old now. Perfect in every way. Megan brings her outside, puts her in my arms. "Grandma duty," she says with a smile. I look down at that tiny face. Those bright eyes. And I see the future. A future full of love, laughter, family. Everything I almost lost. Everything we fought for. Everything we won. Rick leans over, kisses my cheek. We did good, Linda. I smile. Yeah, we really did. Megan sits beside us. Daniel brings out lemonade. And we all sit there together. 3 generations. Watching the sun go down. Grateful for every moment. If you'd told me 2 years ago that this is where we'd end up, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have said you were crazy. But life has a funny way of working out. Even when everything seems broken. Even when hope feels impossible. Love finds a way. Family finds a way. And second chances. They're more beautiful than first ones ever could be. Because you appreciate them more. You hold them tighter. You never take them for granted. That poster at the wedding. The one with our faces on it. We kept it. It's in the garage now. Sometimes I look at it and laugh. Because that was supposed to be our ending. But instead, it was our beginning. The beginning of healing. The beginning of truth. The beginning of the best years of our lives. Patricia tried to destroy us. She failed. Tyler tried to trap our daughter. He failed. And now, Megan is happier than ever. We're closer than we've ever been. And little Emma, she'll grow up knowing what real love looks like. Not manipulation. Not control. Not lies. Just pure, unconditional, never giving up love. The kind that survives anything. The kind that wins in the end. I look at my family, my beautiful, imperfect, wonderful family. And I smile. A big smile. The biggest smile of my life. Because we made it. We really made it. And we're going to live happily ever after. All of us. Together. Forever. The end. Thank you for reading this complete story. I hope the emotional journey resonated with you, from heartbreak to healing, from betrayal to belonging, and from despair to the happiest ending.